A stronghold breached. Off the eastern coast of DioField Island, a fleet of warships is sighted. They hail from the Trovelt-Shovian Empire, the all-conquering mainland military power. The Empire is yet to send an envoy to Alatane, and rumors abound that an invasion is imminent. The royal government asks the Lord's Council to summon a response to the gathering threat. And soon, a number of knights and mercenary units begin to gather in Eastfield. A month has passed since the Blue Fox's formation. Its leaders, Frederick, Walterquin, Iscarion, and Andreas, have spent this time expanding the unit. This has...
This will be the Blue Fox's first long-distance deployment. Expect a major battle. You are to eliminate a demi-human swarm that has laid waste to several Westfield villages. Their path so far suggests that they are set to attack the town of Yulden next. Yulden is located on the Jacquerie Highway that runs westward from Centralfield. It's the most prosperous town in all of Westfield, and an essential stopover for pilgrims and traders alike. Your task is to prevent the swarm from reaching Yulden and ensure that no harm befalls the town.
All while the Imperials draw ever closer.
There have only been reports of minor skirmishes with the enemy fleet descending upon Tagaria Naval Base. A major engagement has yet to occur. There is still time before the battle truly begins. Time aplenty for you to fulfill this mission.
It's just all so underwhelming.
There is just as much meaning to be found in defending Yulden as there is in fending off the Empire.
Please, I am in no mood for such nonsense.
Enough! We must hurry!
The Blue Foxes eliminate a demi-human horde that had been launching violent attacks in Westfield. Left with suspicions regarding the horde's behavior, Andreas sends out a scouting party. It soon emerges that the attacks were instigated by Hadi Solbay of the Ardwolf Thieves. This is reported to the Duke, who orders that the Ardwolves be put to the sword at once. Meanwhile, the knights and mercenaries of Eastfield are mobilized by the Lord's Council, and an army of 11,000 strong gathers at Tagaria Naval Base. The army is led by Alatane's Crown Prince himself, Ivangar Shatham. With the Imperial fleet looming ominously, the Alatanians prepare to face an imminent assault.
Our next mission involves the elimination of the Ardwolves. They're a band of ruthless criminals who'll commit any atrocity if it earns them coin. Our investigation into the demi-human attacks also revealed the Ardwolves to be linked to the Empire.
The Empire?
So that's the bigger picture. Stirring up domestic trouble to weaken us from within.
Correct. And the Ardwolves' leader, Hadi Solbay, is particularly notorious for his vicious crimes throughout the country. He's the one who arranged the attacks by the Gothram bandits and the callous kidnappings of young women for Count Horace. The Duke feels we can ill afford inaction when our kingdom is already in dire straits.
The Ardwolves have long been elusive, but we have at last found their camp in Udine, West Central Field. We can spring an ambush on them if we make a detour to the camp via the crags on the western side of the forest.
Understood. We must vanquish them before they move camp.
Lady Walterquin, you have a visitor.
Who?
It is I, Shivat Moltzin. I do say you are looking radiant as ever, my lady.
The Ardwolves fall prey to the Blue Foxes, but their leader, Hadi Solbay, manages to escape. As the group considers how best to track him down, they are paid a visit by one Shivat Maltsen. He had once been a retainer for House Redditch, and more recently, a high-ranking Ardwolf. Though he showed no hesitation in divulging the location of Solby's hideout. It seems he has taken to hiding in a cave near the Riodale River in Central Field. The unit are all set to depart for the river when they receive an unexpected visitor. It is Duke Hende himself, Lord Counselor and patron of the Blue Foxes.
This is everyone, I believe.
Splendid. Please be at ease. My presence should not be cause for alarm. Firstly, I must commend your efficient elimination of the Ardwolf thieves. Alas, the leader of these bandits, Hadi Solbay, remains at large. Have you been able to locate him?
Fret not, Duke Hende. We have received information that he is in hiding in a location near the Riodale River.
That news is very good to hear. I doubt I need to stress how vital it is that you apprehend or kill this traitor. My sources also report that he possesses jade of exceptionally high quality. You will retrieve it from him, and you will utter not a word of this matter to anyone.
And thus, the true goal lies in the jade, then.
As you say, I will not deny it. You will recognize it as soon as you see it. Its superior brilliance is unmistakable.
Is that so? And just what exactly does your grace intend to do with this jade, pray tell?
All you need to know at this moment in time, Walterquin, is that the fate of our nation depends on this mission.
Such a grandiose statement. Personally, I don't care what happens to the country.
Keep your thoughts to yourself, Walterquin.
Hadi Solbay, the leader of the Ardwolves, and its remnants, are laying low in the caves by the Riodale River. The mighty Riodale raises in Central Field, and then crosses Southfield on its way to the sea.
That means Solby might be planning to make his escape to Southfield by boat.
He cannot be allowed to get away with the jade. Blue Foxes pounce on him in his burrow before he has the chance to set sail.
He won't escape us this time, Your Grace.
And of course, we'll try not to forget about the jade while we're at it, yes?
Naturally.
The fuse of war is lit, and clashes break out on the eastern coast. between royal and imperial forces. These mark the start of what will become known as the Tagaria campaign. The royals boast numerical superiority and a mastery of ancient sorcery, and initially succeed in pushing back the Empire. But the Imperials respond by deploying a force of Wyvern riders, led by their general, Zavatian. If this Wyvern aerial assault breaks the Royals' line, the Empire will make landfall. A brutal struggle ensues, with neither side willing to give an inch. Ardwolf's leader, Hadi Solbay, is slain, and his jade is retrieved by the royal government. Some Blue Foxes grow suspicious of the Duke, but given the escalation of military action, there is no time to entertain such doubts. The royals fighting the Empire in the Tagaria campaign have sent a formal request for help.
We have received word that hostilities have broken out at Tagaria. The Empire attempted to break through our fleet off the Tagarian coast in order to make landfall at the naval base. Fortunately, Prince Ivangar's elite squad was able to hold the line and push the Empire back. Currently, the naval battle is in a deadlock, though it does seem that some Imperial units have made it ashore. We too are to answer the Kingdom's call. Ready up and depart for the base.
We've finally been called up.
I never imagined we'd be fighting in a full-scale war.
Ultimately, your main objective is to assist the army. You are to provide reinforcements for the front line. En route to the base, however, you will also need to defeat units headed in this direction. You will take the Jacquerie Highway from Central Field towards Tagaria. Expect to encounter the Wyvern Riders gathered near Bald Greatbridge at some point.
Wyvern Riders?
They are knights mounted on winged creatures, wyverns, who nimbly attack from above.
I believe that is a job for your bow and arrows, Iska. The Blue Foxes are counting on you. Now more than ever.
Not a thought that brings me joy.
Well, the way I see it, the war looks bleak. Especially if we're being called up to fight.
Look at it this way. This is a rare opportunity to show what we can do.
Do you have such a yearning for war?
I can't comprehend it.
Enough, Iska. We're to make for Eastfield at once.
Lorraine, what news from the front?
Reports state that royal forces temporarily repelled the Imperial advance, forcing them to retreat to the Eastern Sea. Since then, however, they have headed north and are making landfall once more near Nonda.
Nonda? But that area is surrounded by precipitous cracks. An army could never pass through there.
Nevertheless, they are finding a way to cross the range. By what means, though, I have yet to confirm. All that can be ascertained is that they now appear to be marching southward from the heart of the Nondaran Mountains. Prince Ivangar anticipated their movements and mobilized 8,000 of his own elite fighters. They intercepted the invaders in the foothills of the Nondarans. So far, the Empire's weaponry and discipline means they hold out despite inferior numbers. Of course, Ivangar's troops are the best in the kingdom, and the terrain is favorable. But
Is it something that ought to concern us?
scouts have reported that further Imperial reinforcements are en route to Tagaria. That means the naval base is at risk of capture. The garrison there would be easily overrun if the Empire attacked, as it now only consists of a few remaining guards and mercenaries.
If the port falls, Ivangar's troops would be left vulnerable. The Empire would crush them. Of that there is no doubt.
This is no mere coincidence. It must have been their intent all along.
Then it's up to us to deal with the Imperial reinforcements.
Duke Hende has issued no such order. The Blue Foxes are currently on standby.
However, needs must at times like these. If we do nothing, Lord Ivangar could meet his end.
But even if we were to overcome the reinforcements, there's no guarantee of victory.
We must have faith in our Prince Iska and concentrate on doing our part. Let's go!
Defenses have been breached. What are those black things in the sky?
The Empire's first invasion attempt appears to have been unsuccessful. A mercenary unit known as the Blue Foxes, stopping their reinforcements from coming ashore. The main conflict, however, takes place in the north, where Ivangar and Zavatian's armies clash violently. Zavatian and Ivangar engage in single combat, but the prince's fearless onslaught is easily repelled. At last, a fateful bullet pierces the prince's chest, and as his life is snuffed out, so too is the morale of his army. With the now leaderless Alitanians in complete disarray, Zavatian's forces press their advantage and march south. Word of this spreads quickly through the royal ranks. And before long, the entire army is ordered to retreat from Eastfield. The order also applies to the Blue Foxes, despite their victory. Thus, the Alitanian army was defeated by the Empire. Having secured Tagaria, however, the Imperial forces halt their advance and set up camp. Meanwhile, the citizens of Alitane fall into despair. Their prince is dead, and the shores of their island breached for the first time in centuries. Seeking succor in their time of despair, they come to lean upon the Granville Church.
My first ever encounter with Levantia Shatham was certainly a vivid one. On the day I was assigned to be his chamberlain, he introduced himself to me not as a prince, as one would expect, but as an equal. He had a calm smile and exuded wisdom that belied his young age. One day, it was decided that Levantia would be sent to House Leicester, whose head, Arlim, was a close ally of the king. A decision made in secret. Among the bustling activity surrounding the prince, an air of uneasiness had started to brew. He seemed aware of it, yet as we spoke in the carriage to Leicestershire, there wasn't a hint of worry in his voice, nor was there the slightest change to his smile. My fears must have been plain to see. He gave me a beaming grin, as if to cheer me up. As we came to a halt, I hurried out to open the carriage door. Levantia alighted with his usual grace, and then, bursting out of the front doors of the manor, came a young boy grinning from ear to ear. He had this lively look to him, brimming with a curiosity for all things. He briskly approached us and exchanged introductions with Levantia. There was a youthful warmth to his voice that assured me that he bore no malice, and I began to feel at ease. Having already become fast friends, the two then turned to me and called me over. Even today, I can't explain my feelings in that moment.